Hey, everybody, this is Patty. Welcome to the witching hour. Yes, the hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. I have a wonderful guest for you today. She is an intuitive, a speaker, a mindfulness consultant, a business coach, and one of my way long ago workout buddies. All that pace I talk about, we did that together for an infomercial years and years and years ago. But let me bring her on because you are going to love her like I do. Welcome, Elysia Skye. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome, darling. I can't wait to have you on my show too.
I know we're doing a podcast swap, so you're going to have to check out her show as well. So, for anybody who don't know, tell us a little bit about you and what you do. And again, you're very corporate, and so you're magical and witchy and thing, but you also play very much in a corporate world as well. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Right. I live in both realms and it's fascinating and interesting. And I sometimes push boundaries, but they are welcomed. So I created this program essentially called the Brilliance Method. And it's because people were asking me over and over, how do you do it? Like I had beat stage 3 cancer when I was 24, all from listening to my intuition, which we can gladly talk about later.
Yes.
And then I found my soulmate and I'm happily married and I live in my dream house. And doesn't mean things aren't hard at times and awful and I don't go through things, but people were asking me over and over, it seems like everything you touch turns to gold. How do you do it? I was like, I have no idea how I do it. So I had to sit back and go, how do I do it? And I literally, Patty, took post-its and wrote out and put them on the wall, the big landmarks, right? Like, well, the first thing that I did was learn to listen to and trust my intuition. And then what's underneath that and how did I do that? And then the second thing is I really embraced understanding what is my ego and what is my soul's journey and then going through that. And then the third one, tapping into my own unique brilliance, my zone of genius, so to speak. And how do you do that? So on and on and on. It is a mystical experience and it is rooted a lot in the energy of abundance, and I love talking about it, and that's the work, and my clients come to me because they want to the majority of my clients are spiritual, they're psychics, coaches, healers, mediums, body workers, things like that. They just wanna have a more successful business, and I help them to get out of their own way, and yes, there's a lot of business strategy conversation that we have and that we can have, but really it's energy work, it's witchy work, it's all the fun, yummy stuff that I love talking about.
Yes. No wonder we like each other so well. Sounds very much
That's
like my
right.
philosophy as well. I love that. So tell us about your genius method. Is very intriguing to me.
Yes. So we all are intuitive, you know that. And when we learn to listen to and trust ourselves, then we have less remorse and guilt and shame in our life because we trust that we did exactly what we needed to do at the time for the highest and best of everyone involved. So, our own unique brilliance, we have that light which shines within us. And I like to think about a lighthouse. And a lot of people use a lighthouse analogy, but I'm going to take it a step further because a lighthouse is standing tall and strong on the shore, and it's there as a guide. It has this beautiful bright light, this beacon that people can follow when they're stuck or scared or in danger. And when you shift into being a lighthouse, then you lead by example, as opposed to being a lifesaver. What does a lifesaver do? It gets tossed into the cold, dark ocean while there's someone in there cold and screaming, and maybe they're being circled by sharks, and they can't find the moon, and they're grabbing on for dear life. And for so long, Patty, I was a lifesaver. I was trying to fix everyone, save everyone, help them to see that if they just did this, then this. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's exhausting. It's tiring. I believe it's a lot of why I got sick when I was young. And to answer your question, coming back around, we do all have that bright beacon within us. And when we know that, when we believe it, when we know what our gifts are, when we know what we're here to do, then we are unstoppable. And I think that's just gets tricky for some people. Some people are born and they know exactly what they want to do and who they are. And other people have identity crisis or imposter syndrome or all sorts of things that keep them playing small when really it's a shame because they're magical.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And again, it is about intuition because that seems to with societal get so taught out of us. Just do it because you're supposed to, or do it because we said so, or one from like column A, column B, column C versus like, wait, my intuition is telling me to do. Do you have any regular rituals or things that you do regularly to remind yourself of that or that you teach people?
I do, and I love rituals, and even as a young little witch in the early '90s, I had my book, my own book of shadows, and I would write what's coming through, and spell work is manifestation, right?
Yeah.
You talked about that
Mhm.
here, and when we believe that we have the power to manifest something, it actually means that we trust ourselves. So if we trust ourselves and then we're making decisions that are out of alignment with who we are, then we're not acting on behalf of trusting ourselves. So the first thing I would recommend is to build up your skill of trusting yourself. So
Mm.
that might mean keeping an intuitive journal or a psychic journal. And it could be in your phone, it could be an actual notebook, and keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. If you think about someone and then they text you, write that down. Give yourself some validation. If you're in Starbucks or Target and you hear a song playing and you're like, wait, I was just humming that song before I walked in here, right? Validate yourself, remembering that we are all connected. And because we're all connected, we know everything. And when we allow ourselves to receive that information, we become this divine vessel of receiving. It's almost hard to turn off once you've initiated it. So it's one, learning to trust yourself, keeping that going, and then practice and play. Be willing to fail, be willing to be vulnerable and uncomfortable, work with a safe friend or study under so many amazing intuitive guides. Read books, play with cards, like get into the stuff. I will I'll play this game with some of my clients where I'll have these different colored crystals and they won't see what color they're gonna say, "Okay, which color am I touching?" "Oh, I don't wanna be wrong." It's like, let yourself be wrong, because anytime we're working on developing our intuition, that egoic fear of wanting to be wrong is always what trips us up. When we are willing to just get into the feeling of, "It feels like I'm making it up. This feels like make believe," that's when we're right.
Yeah.
And right? Yeah,
I
there's
hun
so
I
many.
just
Let's start there.
literally taught a mediumship class tonight, and I've said this whole class is for you to not be afraid of being wrong, because the less you're not worried about being wrong, the more right you are going to be. And I was pulling things out of what am I holding in my hand? So, oh my God, this is brilliant, and that is what we need, to that self-trust. So, have you always been this magical spiritual person, or what is your journey to get here? Were you
Oh.
knowing things as a kid, or
Thank you. Yeah, I am so grateful my mother was just like us. Like, if she was still with us, Patty, she was my best friend, you guys would be friends, like, she's amazing, and so she raised me to believe in the impossible, to see beyond the veil, to be open to it. As a little kid, I would ask questions like I remember the most frustrated I ever got, I was 5 years old, and I was like, "Okay, wait, what's outside the universe?" And she's like, "Other universes." I'm like, "But what's outside those?" Other universes. Well, what's outside the like, I couldn't my little brain couldn't fathom the infinite, right? And, like, so I we would have those conversations all the time, and we would do hypnosis, and she was really into energy work. She was a Reiki master, and, she when she found my book of shadows, she got a little scared, and she said, "Look, I don't want you playing with Ouija boards. I don't want you having this," because she had seen too many things go wrong. And she had said to me, "I'm not gonna live to be 50." She just knew. And she said, "I wanna make sure that whatever you play with and you get involved in is only in the light." And so I had said to her, "Mom, then you need to trust me that whatever I'm doing with this stuff is in the light." And so
oh,
to honor her, I got rid of the Ouija board. I haven't touched one since 1993, but I continued to write spells and create and for the greater good. In middle school, I remember I had this ring that one of my mom's friends who went to Woodstock had got for her, and had all these little amethyst crystals that would jingle. And I started a spell business. I was always an entrepreneur. And so I said, "Okay, if you give me like $5, I think it was $5 per spell, I will write a spell for you and I will do the spell." And I would hold my ring and I would say, "Earth, water, fire, air, see so and so standing there." Da, da, da. And it always rhymed when I was a kid. And I remember my first client, this guy, Bill, had a crush on this kid, Susie, and they were both on the school bus. And Bill, at the time, we're in middle school. He had a lot of acne. He was super chubby. Susie, blonde hair, gorgeous girl in theater. He was like, "Alicia, I want her to like me. I want her to be my girlfriend." I was like, "Sweet, let's do it." I kid you not, Patty, a week later, they were holding hands and dating. And then he told everybody, so then I just had this, like, booming spell business, and I'm like, "I don't know." Like, clearly, they were meant to be at that time. Did it Are they married? No, we were kids, but I just loved it. My friends and I would go out and onto the lake, and we would ask for it to rain, and we would do things under the moon. It's just goddess work to me, Patty, and I think this carries on from lifetimes. Did I do it as a kid? Yes, but I think you and I and so many other people we were friends with were doing this 100 years ago, 10,000 years ago, maybe on other planets.
Working with people, a lot of people just overthink things as a rule. Again, going back on that trust thing. When people think they're overthinking or stuck on something, what energy do you have, an energetic or emotional? Because I know these are areas you work. Cues, do you teach them to look at and things that
Mhm.
to go into how to deal with that?
Yeah, so indecision comes from
Does
a
that make
lot of
sense?
different. It does, yeah, it does, I got you. Indecision can come from a lot of different places, especially if we are overwhelmed, if we're feeling anxious, if we're feeling depressed, if we're up against a deadline. All of those things tend to put us in flight or fight mode, and then we freeze, right? So this thing happens in the brain, right, in that, like, amygdala area that's, like, all this fear, and then it moves into processing and rationalization up in the frontal cortex of the brain. And in order for it to go from here to here, we just need to be still. We just need to give it a minute, give it a moment, give it a beat, especially when clients get scared to ask for what they're worth, right? Someone says, "Oh, how much is it for a session?" Or what do you charge? Or what's your group rate? And they're like, "Well, it's this, but if you can't afford it, da, da, da," right? And it's like, oh my gosh, just say the price and close your mouth,
Yeah.
right? Because the person who's receiving that information also has their own potential fear response and they're moving it into rationalization. So, what are we doing? We're all just walking around afraid. And what's underneath that fear? That we're not going to be loved.
Mm.
That is the reason we are afraid of anything and we don't make decisions about anything because we just want to love and be loved. And I've done this exercise with hundreds of people when they say, "Here's my problem," or "Here's what I'm afraid of." And I say, "Well, what does that really mean? And how much of that is true?" "Well, this is what that really means. And how much is that? And this is how much is true." "Well, what does that really mean? And how much of that is true?" And you can go down 20, 30 layers deep, or even just three. And it always comes down to, Patty, I just want to be loved.
Yeah.
So to continue, if my mantra is in this moment, I am safe. And I just try to remember that as much as possible. So if you who are listening to the show right now are frozen in indecision, or you're not trusting yourself, or you don't know what to do and you've gone back and forth and you've asked everybody, if you've asked everybody and you still don't, and you still aren't making a decision, there's something going on where you already know the answer and maybe everybody's telling you one thing, but beyond a shadow of your doubt in the deepest depths of your heart exactly what to do, and you're just waiting for someone to tell you that they agree with you. So just do it and be willing to fail and mess it up, and we're gonna learn so much faster from that anyway. And just remember, in this moment, I am safe. Take a mindful pause to feel into how does it feel in your entire being, not just your body, but your spirit, your ego, your body, your mind, your soul, all connected, and go, is this the truth for me?
That's
You go from there.
beautiful. That is beautiful. And yeah, we do all that. It's like, and this, but we back, do over, we pedal back, and that's a really good point. It's right. It's just because, please like me, please do this. So, you guys, I like that. I am safe. Now, you mentioned going back to safe. You had a cancer journey, right? And you said your intuition saved you in that. You remarked earlier. So, tell us about that a little bit.
Oh, when I was 24, I was still living in Los Angeles. I was pursuing acting and definitely putting external validations of Hollywood and what does everyone else think? What does my agent think? What does my boyfriend think? All of that more important than my own self. Also connected to a lot of trauma I didn't deal with my mom dying when I was young and, my dad in and out of a cult and all this other crazy stuff. We have a lot to talk about. But unhealed trauma can sometimes manifest. And for me, it manifested in my breast, in my right breast. And I was fighting with my boyfriend, as we did all the time. I loved drama back then. And I said, I'm just going to take a shower and cool off because that's what you would say if you were in a movie. And I thought I was really cute. So I
Mhm.
went into the shower and I was loofahing and my pinky grazed my breast. And I'm very medically intuitive and I had this just immediate download deep. I just went like almost like I was this tiny little fairy and I just went deep, like the movie Inner Space, right? Just deep into my body and I saw cancer. And I'm not a hypochondriac. I don't have a history of that illness in my family. My grandma had like a stage 1 at that point that was in and out, zapped. But I knew this was serious and I paused. And again, it's that mindfulness moment where I paused and I went, oh, wow. It wasn't even a fear, it was a knowing.
Mm.
That knowing when you're that still and you're clear and you listen, it doesn't have to be fear, even if it's a scary, terrible thing, because I know in this moment I'm safe and it's all going to work out in the highest and best good for everyone involved, even if that meant my time on this planet is short. So, because I have that unwavering faith and trust, I said, okay, I'm going to call my doctor. Called the doctor. Long story longer. I had a second lump that showed up in my armpit, and they said, you know, you're 24. I just turned 24 a week before, and you're freshly 24. Maybe it's a cyst. Women have lumpy boobs. I was like, I don't have that. And I don't feel like it's a cyst. And I've seen it. And I said, I just want you to trust me. I know. I just know. And she said, well, the one in your armpit's a little concerning. But she said, why don't we give it a month and see if it grows? And if nothing happens or it goes away or dissolves on its own, you're fine. And I said, absolutely not. And I gave her my Amex and I said, I know this is irresponsible, but this has an unlimited credit or whatever. Give me a mammogram and a biopsy. And she's like, okay. So she wrote me the referral to go and do that. I did it. Turned out it was stage 3. And she said, you know, I'm so glad that you did that because you would have been dead in a month at how fast it's growing. Right. I still get chills
Wow.
telling this story.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. And you know what else is so crazy? I actually haven't ever told this story before. I'm going to tell it on the
Okay.
show.
On the first, on the witching hour. Yes.
That's right. About a week before this happened, I was driving with a friend and I ran a red light and I didn't realize I did it. And my friend, Jen, she grabbed my arm and she's like, oh my God, you ran a red light. I was like, I did. And we're still driving on like La Brea or something. And I'm like, that light was red. She's like, yes, you just went right through it. I'm like, that's weird. That's weird that I didn't even acknowledge it. Now, my mother had multiple sclerosis, even though that's not what she died from. And I thought, well, maybe I need to get checked, but I didn't have health insurance.
Mhm.
So I called Blue Cross. I was just like Googled like what is health insurance? Just a wild child raised by wolves out in
Mm.
LA. And I signed up for a PPO. I was like, what's the best insurance I can get? Like I got a little scared and I signed up for a PPO. And so I think it's been long enough now that I can tell this story. So
Yeah.
I go, I get that I get that a doctor's appointment the day that I had the lump. And she said, do you have health insurance? And I said, "I just signed up and I think it went through yesterday or today." And at the time, you couldn't have a pre-existing condition. If you had a pre-existing condition, insurance wouldn't cover it. Doctors
Got it.
wouldn't treat you. It was like a whole
I
thing, right?
remember.
Yeah, and it was like not that long ago that that changed. Thank goodness. But she said, "When did your insurance kick in?" And I was like, and we looked it up. It had kicked in that morning. And she said, "When did the lump show up?" And I said, "I found it on Friday." And she goes, "No, you didn't. You found it this morning." I'm like, "I found it this morning." And I was so scared for so long to tell anybody that because I didn't wanna not get covered.
Right.
But we're past that in society, but even that intuitive hit, Patty, of go get insurance, like, it's so crazy. So many people don't listen to themselves. They have a thought and they think, "Oh, let me logic my way out of this because that's expensive or that'll inconvenience somebody, or that's probably not what's going on." And that is the death of some people, and it could have been the death of me, and I'm sure you have moments in your life that I would love to
Mm.
hear about where you, like, even if it didn't make sense, you just trusted it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, completely. And again, I have a bunch of health issues, things too, that I decided I'm done with this. I'm not going to be sick anymore. I'm done with this. And I just ended it. I just, again, that manifestation, mind over matter, spell crafting, combination of all of the above to create what we want to create. So I love how you did that. So you trusted your intuition. We're both entrepreneurs. We're both busy gals and we do whatever. In this world that often rewards hustle, and we are both hustlers, but how do you build energetic boundaries to get some rest and get some silence and reflection? Because you talked about meditation and breathing. So, how, do you have to schedule that in for yourself, or do you have ways that you do that?
I've built my
I'm
life
still learning.
around it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I used to be terrible as far as putting myself first and thinking, I had an addiction to productivity. Full on.
Oh,
Like if I wasn't being productive, I couldn't relax. It was so hard for me to even get my nails done. Someone like it's the craziest shit. I would be getting a pedicure and the stylists were lined up to get readings from me while they were doing my nails, because I would do, like I just started once, I got a hit about something and I said it and it happened, so then they all just started lining up, and so then it turned into and then, like, even getting a massage, like, I couldn't receive, right? I was like, "I
um,
can't receive, I have to give, I have to give," and so I had to learn how to receive, and I took a class from a woman who's a dear friend of mine now, Andrea Quinn. She teaches a class called The Quintessentials, and she has a book called The Quintessentials: 9 Tools to Accomplish Anything, and her first tool that she teaches is receiving. And that was like it took the wind out of me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a terrible receiver." And what I learned from her is as a female, we are divine receivers. We are here to receive and create, whether we have children or not. So in being an entrepreneur, we're here to receive all this creativity, right? And we create a business, receive ideas, create offers and opportunities, receive through our intuition and create readings and experiences and mystical moments for people. So there a client asked me this question today, more or less. She's having a lot of success right now and things are moving really fast. And she said, "Alicia, how do I not fall back into my old ways?" And I said, "Give me an example." And she said, "Well, there's a client who wants to see me and she said it's urgent and she can only see me on Mondays, but like I don't work Mondays anymore. Mondays are my admin days, it's my me day, it's this and this, but it's the only day she can see me." And she's a really high paying client. And I said, "First of all, we teach people how to treat us. And in Buddhism, there is a term called sanzoshima, and it means breaking your karma. So if you have chosen to change a behavior pattern in this lifetime, especially to heal karma, not just from this lifetime, but other lifetimes, sanzoshima will come up and test you and go, 'Are you sure?' And we will acknowledge we're being tested and we either fail and book the session on Monday, or we go, 'Oh, I'm not available Monday.' And when I said to her, 'Just say you're not available Monday,' but right, all the things of like, but what if, right? And we get on this journey of what ifs that is so disruptive to our peace. Because the immediate what if is just say I'm not available Monday, and then she'll let you know if she likes you and respects you as she should, if she's paying you, she'll go, "Oh, I didn't know that. How's," and then you tell her other days, right? More or less, Patty, whenever we break our boundaries, we are already resenting the situation, and that's not fair to the client, to the venue, to the convention, to the seminar, to the whatever it is. We have to honor ourselves. And when we don't do that, that's where we feel inauthentic. And that inauthenticity is what helps us to feel like a fraud, to feel like we're an imposter, to feel like, what did I do wrong? Who even gave me the keys to drive this thing? Right. And again, it's about honoring our energy. Every morning, I needed like 3 hours in the morning now. It's getting a little crazy.
wow. Good for you.
So thank you. But I don't see clients before 11, and that's just part of it. I My morning rituals, I drink warm lemon water, I drink some bone broth and some tonics and teas. I go on a mile walk with my dogs. I have multiple meditations that I do. One of them is a frequency vibration, like a raising your frequency
Mhm,
meditation that this mystic, she's a medium that I work with, she's given me. I do chanting that I learned from our friend Jade Luna.
mhm.
And yeah, I love him. I do channeled writing. I ask spirit, what do I need to hear today? And I channel, and oftentimes, like loved ones, ancestors come through. When I skip those things and I don't do those things, I feel off. I feel uncomfortable. And the more you commit in your lifetime to your spiritual practice and then you skip it, It's like if you're really committed to a clean diet and then you party and eat a bunch of crap, like, you just feel the same way. So, it's very self-motivating because I don't wanna feel like crap. Now, if we're dealing with consistent and chronic depression and anxiety and we've become okay with feeling like crap, then we're gonna skip that stuff more often than not. And it's not always that reason. Sometimes we're people pleasing, we got kids to get out of the house or, like I said before we started this call, I was like, wow, 8 a.m. Like that's really early for me, right? The people who go to your workouts and stuff. I'm like, I don't know about that. You know how hard it was for me to go to those 6 a.m. pace classes that we did together back in 2011, Patty?
Yeah.
That was the hardest things
That
I
was
did.
early even for me because I had to go to the valley from Hollywood. It was like, okay, here we go.
That's right,
What?
and I would come home and I would sleep. I would come people would be like, "Oh, you always have so much energy when you work out." I'm like, "That's not my rhythm in the morning." I would come home and sleep for another 2 hours, and then I would start my day. So the other answer is honor the natural rhythms and cycles of your body. If you're like, "I'm not gonna do this whole morning ritual," give yourself 10 minutes to just sit and breathe and be. Go outside and just put your hand on your chest and say, "Whatever you believe in," I say, "Dear God, thank you for returning my soul to my body. Thank you
Mm.
for returning my husband's soul to his body." I go through everyone I love, all my pets, and I just imagine they've been dreaming all night and now their soul has come back into their body to have a beautiful day. That's my first morning ritual I do every day before I get out of bed. If you could just do that and just say gratitude, thank you, source, thank you, Gaia, thank you, universe, for returning my soul to my body. I got to wake up today. Everything we create on a foundation of gratitude is how our life expands, and it expands quickly and with so much more fun, truly.
Oh, that is beautiful. And I'm sort of like that too. I don't really start before 11. The same thing. I do get up early because that works my thing. But that is my actually spirituality. We do ritual up at the lake every day. We, count the turtles and feed the deer. And
Yes.
I, so there's something to that, everybody listening or watching out there. There really is something to set yourself up, what you need to do to be your best you. And so many people don't take that time, just don't.
Right.
Ah,
I mean, I'm not perfect. I'll skip one once or twice a month, but then I feel like crap.
yeah, me too. So,
Mhm.
so people, we know we talk about getting resets. How does somebody know when? Wait, I really do need a reset here. Is that going back into awareness and things like that?
If you're feeling tired and different or grumpy and people are telling you, listen to what people are saying. Like, "Oh, wow." Like, I hate when people say you look tired, right? That's my least favorite thing to hear. But when people
Thank you.
thanks. They're like, "Oh, I'm just trying to be helpful. You should get some rest," right? We know when we're burning it too hard, right? And that reset can be so simple. Like you said, going to the lake and counting the turtles and nature is here. It's here for us. It's medicine. We were not meant to know the news of the world. We are a tribal animal. We have communities and tribes, and we were never supposed to know what's happening in the Ukraine. And we know, and we have compassion, and then we want to get involved, and it adds stress. So I'm not saying don't be informed, but I'm saying that reset can so often, even the desire for it can so often be triggered by being overwhelmed. Especially, I know so many of your viewers are very empathic, very sensitive. We're
Yes,
all highly sensitive people, especially in the realm of mysticism. So tone it back, right? Get off your phone, get off the internet. I don't watch the news.
I don't
And
either.
yeah, you can't. And so if you're feeling like I need a reset, turn off the news. I don't subscribe to Apple News or Yahoo News or any of that stuff. I will find out what's going on because people I know who we love each other, they'll update me. I have a friend in Memphis right now and she's like, "Oh my gosh, they're sending in the National Guard." Like they're telling me what's going on, right? And so I can send love, I can send prayers, I can say who should I donate to, who needs help, right? Who needs a place to stay, whatever it is that we can do, but I don't need to go online and go, "Oh my god, what's happening?" and then go into the news, right? Our nervous system can't handle that. And, like, imagine, like, when we were cave people, how many decisions did we make in a day, right? Do I kill this boar and then, bang my wife, and am I sleeping under this rock or this tree, right? It's like
Right.
that's, like, all we needed to do. And now, even when we pick up our phone and we're like, "Oh, this alert, this alert, this notification," we have to make 10 decisions every time we open our phone of what do I wanna close? What do I wanna open? What do I wanna look at? What do I wanna say? Remind me again in 15 minutes. We make more decisions in one day than we were designed to make in a week.
Right.
And that is causing a need for reset. So as much as you can, my loves, set the phone down, turn the computer off, go be outside with nature. Nature is at the core of any witchcraft practice.
Yes. I completely, because it's connecting to source. So one thing we all are, whatever our belief is, we are humans as of right now, at least half human. You might be a half breed, and we'd have to connect into it. And we've gotten so far away. That truly is my sanity. So what do you have before? Oh, I have so many questions we could talk about, but what is something, if you have any like wisdom coming up for not coming up thoughts right now, what's going on in the world? Again, we both very similar. Avoid news because you're gonna get it anyway. Doing what, like one or two little practices for people that they can just put it, or whether it's an awareness or step into it, just so they can create that life that they really want to live.
Sure. Let's go with 2. So, 1, be as kind as you can and be generous. And the easiest way to do that is if you're thinking about someone and you're like, "Oh, I should call them." Just call them. Can you call them right now? Or if you can't, just send a text. Thinking of you, love you, wish I could chat right now, but I wanted you to know you popped into my mind. A friend of mine recently was saying, his sister is so busy and she's got all this stuff going on and she never calls him. And I said, just call her. It's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm always the one who calls her. So right? And he's like, "Yeah, you're right." And so, like, removing the ego of that and going, "I'm just here to love and be loved." So, releasing the expectations to and just forgive, right? Forgive. Forgive. Like, again, we can have boundaries. We don't need to have certain people in our lives. But anytime we're holding on to any anger or resentment, it's not good for anything. So, do your best to practice forgiveness. And it's usually a forgiveness of self. So, that was kind of one big chunk. The second is be with people, be together,
Mm.
especially after we were so isolated. The pandemic was shocking and great for the animals. That was so fun. Seeing like
I love that.
videos of like the deer on the Vegas Strip. Like, we need to do this once a month for a week, right? But shocking to humans. We were not meant to be isolated. There's so many studies that have done where, if a baby monkey isn't held, it's sick or dies compared to one that is, even if they don't have food, right? And we have to be together. So come together. You always get more when you show up than when you don't show up. So if you're like, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't know if I want to go to the party." Girl, whatever. Like, you know what your night looks like if you don't go. And maybe it's great. You're like, I'm going to sit and I'm going to watch this movie and I'm going to eat this popcorn and pizza and I'm going to bed early. And that sounds amazing to me. And if you're doing that 364 days a year, God bless you, but just go to the damn party.
Go to the
Get
park.
out, right? Go be with people. And once a year, I host this event called Clarity Camp. And my clients have dubbed it Witch Camp, which is adorable. But it's goddess work, and I have so many clients online, like you and I are online right now. We do so much online. I was like, "We need to be together." Right? So we gather on the beach, and we do sound healings, and we chant, and we do Akashic records, and we do intuitive readings, and we actually accomplish some things in our business too. We get stuff done. And that event is so enriching, not just for them, for me. Like, I need it.
Mhm.
I need to go and be with women and do this work and sit and be still and put our phones away most of the day. Like, just be together. Be
Yeah.
together. And my next event is February, that's why I don't forget to say it. February 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So it'll be on elysiasky.com/events. I'd love to invite your audience.
You're being intuitive again. I was going to say next. So if everybody has fallen in love with you, like I have, like I do, where can they, anything you have coming up, which you just mentioned, where they can find you and your work, or to work with you and your events?
Thank you, sweetheart. And I hope that you and I get back together again in person soon, maybe this month.
We will. We will. I have not been Nashville. I travel a lot. Have not been to Nashville recently. Was in Memphis not too long ago, but getting closer, same state. But yeah, tell people again, it's your name is your website, right?
That's right. Elysiaskye.com, ELYSIASKYE, if you're listening. And that's where my podcast is, which is the Brilliance Method, which Patty will be on soon. And all my events are at elysiaskye.com/events. I do a lot of virtual events, a lot of virtual retreats, master classes, and workshops. But my in person event, again, Clarity Camp, that is where I don't invite every audience of every podcast I go on to come, but this audience, that's who I want at Clarity Camp because we're doing goddess work and it needs to be done because they took our voices for so long, Patti.
So
So
long. We need our voice back. Now
that's what
more than ever, it seems.
absolutely. And my
Now more than
socials, it's Elysia Skye on all the socials, TikTok,
ever.
Instagram, all
So
the places.
like her, follow her, check her out. Maybe we'll get her up early one day and do the workout. Maybe, but it's 2 hours later for you. We're opposite coasts, you know.
I will.
All right. Well, thank you, Alicia. Excited to have you. I will have you back again. You guys check her out and her work and her
Absolutely.
coaching and her magic. So thank you for bringing your magic to the witching hour.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This is something that just happened naturally over the last 5 years or so, right when we stopped doing, people go, I have questions for you. I have questions for you. Do you have, this is the Ask Patty section now. Do you have any questions for me before we go?
Yes. Patti, what was the moment or moments that you decided to go all in, not just on who you are identity wise, but having a spiritual business, being a spiritual entrepreneur, because that can be really scary for some people.
Completely scary. And I came in kicking and screaming and avoiding it completely. Because again, I was an actor like you. Then I became, when I was too old to be an actor, I became a producer. I ran a very corporate production company for years. And I'm like, these people just cannot know. Number one, I talk to dead people. Number two, I dance around bonfires in a cloak. I can't. And then 2008 came that big crash and corporate entertainment became a dirty word. I was producing shows nationwide and beyond. And we're like, we can't hire your company. We're laying off everybody. It's like, oh. And at the same time, reality television was going up, up. Somebody actually called me and said, Patty, I know your ability. I know how you do seances, the lifting of the veil. We need you to do a seance on our reality show. And I'm like, oh, thank you. But no, I can't. That's my private life. I have to keep it private. And they're like, please. I'm like, oh, please, no. And I'm looking at my empty calendar and I finally go, what's the name of the show? Literally, they go, well, it's called Mobile Home Disaster and it's on country music television. And I'm like, who would watch that? I don't know anybody who would watch that. That's a dumb show. I know everybody. And I went, okay, I could just do it this once. Nobody I know is going to watch on CMT country music television. So I went and it was, oh, Alicia, the most fulfilling thing I'd done. So I got to help a human little girl who everybody thought was crazy because she was drawing portals on the ceiling of her motorhome. I'm like, no, there are portals on the ceiling of a motorhome. I got to help a spirit that was a little stuck cross over. And equally cool, I got to slightly open the mind of the Southern Bible Belt cast and crew that this isn't dark, this isn't evil, this isn't the devil. And like, I'm like, this was the best day ever, but never again. So when it aired a couple months later, I watched it. I go, this is great. I know camera, I know television, I know how to talk and stuff. I was go, that was great, but never again. My very first call the next morning was from my biggest national corporate client. Hi, Patty. Hi. I saw you on television last night. Oh, yes. I didn't know you were into the paranormal. I'm like, my world is crashing around me. I'm like, yeah, as my voice cracks. And she goes, I love the paranormal and proceeded to tell me her first ghost or spiritual experience. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm out of the broom closet. I'm out of the psychic medium closet and I haven't looked back. Don't even have time to do my production company anymore. It's like, this is where spirit has guided me all the time. I just was a slow learner and it's so much more fun than teaching HR policy to the accounting department at Microsoft via a song and dance extravaganza. Now I get to do things like interview people like you and magical people and travel the world and speak and talk. And my other was my true self, but it just was so divided up. So that was mine. Thank you. Beautiful question. So this is how I came in, kicking and screaming.
I love it, and it's so funny. We can avoid whatever it is we're avoiding for so long, but the universe will make it happen whether we like it or not. And you might as well just embrace, right? So,
Embrace it. And so
yeah,
much more fun. All that energy to fight it can be used into so many more productive.
that's right. Channel that
um,
creativity into your magic.
anyway, well, thank you. That was a great Ask Patty question. Nice.
You're welcome. I love it. I'm so glad you said yes to that weird show.
Yeah, I know that I said yes to that weird show, and many weird shows later again are apps are fabulous and
Gosh, I was on a pilot called The Psychic Housewives of Los Angeles. I was one of the psychics. I wish you were on that show. And, it didn't get greenlit because Bravo said we didn't have enough drama, and then, I don't know, TLC said, like, we weren't trashy enough. But I think, like, now that the intuitive movement and the witchy movement is having a moment again, it might be time to bring that show back, and
it might be
you
time to bring that show back.
you
Yes,
guys
I
should
know.
be one of the couples.
I've had a few pilots out there, same thing. Again, all a little bit before their time.
Yeah,
Now, witchcraft is the largest growing religion in America. Practical magic too is coming.
that's exciting.
Hey, well,
Midnight
thank you.
margaritas.
Yes, yeah, midnight margaritas. So thank you, Alicia, so much. I will see you very soon. You guys like her, follow her, maybe see you at witch camp.
Bye.